Welcome to a riveting exploration of the 1920s, an era underscored by economic boom, cultural upheaval, and the infamous rise of gangsters who immortalized their place in American folklore. As we delve into the underworld of this tumultuous period, we'll uncover the fascinating dynamics that fueled organized crime and the notorious figures that defined the gangster era. The 1920s, often referred to as the Roaring Twenties, were marked by unprecedented prosperity in the United States. The end of World War I had ushered in a decade of exuberance and cultural dynamism. Jazz music ignited the dance floors, women donned flapper dresses and embraced newfound freedoms, and the country seemed to pulse with the energy of change. Yet amid this fervor, there was a darker side, the rise of organized crime that thrived under the veil of prohibition. Prohibition, enacted by the 18th Amendment in 1920, intended to curb the consumption of alcoholic beverages. Instead, it ignited a lucrative black market and turned law-abiding citizens into lawbreakers overnight. Enter the gangsters, figures who would come to dominate the era, capitalizing on the public's insatiable thirst for illegal alcohol. These criminal empires were built on bootlegging, speakeasies, and a web of corruption that reached deep into the fabric of society. One cannot discuss the gangster era without mentioning its most infamous icon, Al Capone. Born in Brooklyn, New York, Capone climbed the ranks of Chicago's underworld to become the quintessential mob boss. Notorious for his ruthlessness and savvy business acumen, Capone's empire was estimated to pull in $100 million annually, a staggering figure at the time. His public persona, however, was as complex as his operations. While he was feared, Capone also sought public admiration, often presenting himself as a benefactor to the community, which perhaps contributed to his enduring legacy. Yet Capone was not alone in his infamy. Figures like Charles "Lucky" Luciano, Meyer Lansky, and Bugsy Siegel were key players in shaping organized crime, each contributing to the sophisticated, corporatized structure known as the syndicate. Luciano in particular is credited with establishing the National Crime Syndicate, which streamlined operations and reduced conflict between rival gangs, a move that underscored the business-like nature of these criminal enterprises. But what allowed these figures to flourish beyond the allure of easy money? The key lay in the corruptibility of law enforcement and public officials. Bribery, intimidation, and outright violence ensured that the gangsters could operate with relative impunity. Judges and politicians were frequently on the payroll, and those who resisted found themselves targets of retribution. The symbiotic relationship between organized crime and the authorities not only shielded these syndicates, but also perpetuated a cycle of corruption that proved difficult to dismantle. However, the gangster era was not destined to last. With the onset of the Great Depression, the socio-economic landscape shifted once more. Public sentiment began to turn against the flagrant lawlessness and corruption that had characterized the previous decade. This shift paved the way for the federal government to strengthen its resolve against organized crime. The relentless pursuit of gangsters by law enforcement officials, most notably by the FBI under the leadership of J. Edgar Hoover, eventually led to the downfall of key figures. The repeal of prohibition in 1933 dealt a significant blow to the criminal empires, stripping them of their most profitable business venture. Al Capone was famously brought down not by his criminal exploits, but by a tax evasion charge, a testament to the increasing effectiveness of law enforcement tactics. As we reflect on the gangster era, it is a vivid reminder of a time when the underworld dictated its terms to the world above, leaving an indelible mark on American history. The legacies of these figures are as much about their crimes as they are about the cultural impacts, shaping narratives in books, films, and popular culture for decades to follow. In closing, the gangster era was a complex tapestry woven from ambition, desperation, defiance, and above all, the relentless pursuit of the American dream, albeit through illicit means. It is a saga that continues to fascinate, serving as both a cautionary tale and a captivating chapter in the chronicles of American history. Thank you for joining us in this deep dive into the 1920s underworld, where fact and legend intertwine in the shadows of the past.